Welcome friends. Today I will be taking you through the CA Final Paper 1 Financial Reporting, and the way in which we will be discussing the entire chapter and the paper will be in the same process in which the institute study material has been structured, and also the weightage of marks which has been given for various standards according to the examination paper which has been set by the institute. What we are planning is that we will be taking the entire session with a lot of theory, small case studies to understand the concept, as well as some of the workout problems which we will be having. And apart from that, we also have one more faculty who will be taking you through a lot of Excel based working to enable you to be completely ready for the purposes of your financial reporting. As you are aware, this is one of the scoring subject which will help you to aggregate your marks to ensure that you are not losing on aggregation at the time of appearing for the examination. So I request you to pay your attention to this paper fully and concentrate on that. And just to give you a small overview, we also have Q&A sessions, and you can post your questions, and that questions will also be answered by me as well as the other expert faculties, and doubt clearing sessions will also be there, and that is the way in which we have structured the entire course. So as a first topic, the framework for Indian accounting standards is what we will be discussing today. This is coming as an overview of Indian accounting standard. What I will do is I split this into various units. The first learning unit will be on overview of Indian accounting standards. What we are going to see in this particular standard is very simple. The learning objective has been very clearly set. What are the new rules of financial reporting in accordance with Ind AS, and what is the magnitude of the impact of the implementation of Ind AS on the financial statement of companies, as well as what are the consequences of non-compliance with the Ind AS framework, and what is a practical approach to understand Ind AS. Majority of the students are used to say understanding Ind AS will require a lot of effort, but the way in which we are structuring the course is that you will be able to decipher the entire standards in a very, very simple manner with a practical approach which we will be talking about. That is what the unit 1 is going to discuss, and let us move on to understand what is the new rules of financial reporting. You may be knowing that we have several sets of accounting standards which are being used by various types of entities. For example, if you are talking about a non-corporate entity, that is other than a company, not a private limited company, not a public limited company, not a listed company, it may be an individual, a partnership, or a trust, or any other association of persons or body of individuals, or a society, whatever you call, which is a non-corporate entity, which is not a company, we will be issuing the standards which has been issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. That is your first set of rules for financial reporting. Because whenever you prepare a financial statement, the framework based on which you have prepared the financial statement is an important aspect. That aspect is taken care by means of this. For a non-corporate entity, we will be using the standards issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Whereas, when we are coming to the standards which are to be used by companies which are meeting certain threshold limits. Let us talk about the threshold limit little later, but I will tell you threshold limits means very simple. What is the limit up to which a net worth of the company, or maybe whether the company is listed or unlisted, they have fixed certain conditions. That is what I am trying to use the word threshold limits. If they are meeting certain threshold limits, those companies are expected to use IFRS converged Indian accounting standards. In a very short terminology, we use Ind AS. On a go forward basis, I will not be using IFRS converged Indian accounting standards, but I will be using Ind AS. The third set of principles is again companies who are on other than meeting the threshold limit. It is not non-corporate entities, it is a company, but still it is not meeting the recognition criteria based on which Ind AS is applicable. In those cases, what the company is supposed to do is to recognize or prepare and present the financial statement in accordance with Companies Accounting Standard Rules 2006. But this rule from time to time is amended. So, to that extent there is an amendment to a particular standard, that amendment should also be taken into consideration. So, very simple rules of financial reporting. For a non-corporate entity, standards issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. For companies meeting threshold limits, we have to use Ind AS, and for other companies we have to use Companies Accounting Standard Rules 2006. I think you have understood what is the principles which we are talking about. Let us move on to understand these rules little further. For making it easier to understand this, what I wanted to tell you is that when you are going on to understand Ind AS, as people used to say, Ind AS is very tough. Even faculties are used to say that, sir, very difficult to teach Ind AS to the students because we ourselves has not understood it properly. But I wanted to tell you that understanding Ind AS or understanding the new rules of financial reporting, which is going to be part of your paper 1 in your final, is not going to take your entire life. Okay. What I have seen is that if you are making a detailed, systematic and planned study, you will be able to understand these standards, and even I can assure you that you can master yourself to become an expert on Ind AS, and maybe at a later point of time you may even be a faculty or even may be a consultant on you passing the CA. That much assurance which I can give to you if you are able to do a systematic study on this Ind AS. I will also give you some simple tips how you can manage to understand the standards properly. That will help you to know the rules of the game. But before that, why people are worried about Ind AS? Let me take a live number which has been reported by one of the listed company which has transitioned from Indian GAAP, that is our accounting standards as per Companies Accounting Standard Rules 2006, and from there they have moved to Ind AS according to the roadmap which has been issued. The roadmap we will see at a later unit. In that particular transition, what has happened is there is differences between Indian accounting standards or IGAAP, which I will use as an IGAAP when we are talking about Indian accounting standards which are under Companies Accounting Standard Rules, and Ind AS. Between Indian GAAP and Ind AS there are lot of changes, and that changes when there is an accounting policy which is totally different will result in a difference between what was reported under the earlier GAAP and what you are going to report as per Ind AS. Okay. This particular company, when it is adopted Ind AS for the first time, just because the change in the accounting policy or the difference between their accounting policy as per existing Indian GAAP and the accounting policy to be adopted as per Ind AS, one fine morning their reserves have come down by 39,570 crore. Please see, I am talking about 39,570 crore, not thousands or lakhs. Sometimes you may not have even seen a balance sheet with the total of this number. 39,570 crore has erased from the reserves just because there is a difference between IGAAP and Ind AS in respect of a particular accounting treatment applicable to that particular company. It is not stopped at that level. There was also a change which has happened. We said because you are adopting a deferred tax accounting which was prescribed as per AS 22 vis-a-vis Ind AS 12 as per Ind AS standard on deferred tax accounting, the company has to make one more adjustment that resulted in reduction of reserves by another 13,665 crore. So, totally the net worth has got reduced by 53,235 crore. Now, just imagine the impact or the magnitude of the impact of transitioning from IGAAP to Ind AS. You will have this amount, big number in respect of one single company, and the investors and other stakeholders who are looking the net worth as the KPI for the assessment of various performance indicators. What are all connected with the net worth? For example, the employee compensation payable, managerial remuneration payable to the key managerial personnel is dependent on what is the capital structure, right. So, if you are talking about the net worth, which is the effective capital, you will have the amount of eligible remuneration which has to be accounted for. Whatever you have paid over and above that has to be refunded by the directors, right. That is one thing which we are having. The second important aspect is, what is the perception of the stakeholders? Last day they have seen 53,000 and odd crores is high level of net worth. Next day morning they have lost that net worth. What would be the perception of the shareholders, and what would be the impact on my share pricing? That is another challenge which we are talking about. Based on that, we also do a business valuation. What would be the value impact on this particular situation, and what would be the credit rating agencies will look into if there is a fall in this, and how I am going to report my quarterly results on a go forward basis. All these things are dependent on a simple impact, which is the magnitude of the change from IGAAP to Ind AS. That is what we have to look into as part of this particular impact. Why I have given this number is to understand why the industry is worried too much about this particular aspect. Let us move on to understand, in case if somebody wants not to comply with Ind AS because preparing for Ind AS they believe that it will have an impact on their cost or maybe the compliance time which they require. Let us understand what would be the penalty. You know that section 129 subsection 3 says every company should present its financial statement in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. And in case if the financial statements are not presented in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework, these people are considered as officers in default. The managing director, the whole-time director finance, the chief financial officer, any other person to whom the board has authorized the activity of doing the financial reporting process. In case if no such person has been designated in a company as a managing director or whole-time director finance, then all the directors of the company are considered as officers in default. And interestingly, what happens is the penalty will be 50,000 per officer, which may get extended to 5 lakhs per officer, and including for the company. Assuming that if the company is having say 7 directors, 35 lakhs for the directors, CFO another 5 lakhs, and for the company another 5 lakhs. So, nearly 40 lakhs will be the penalty for non-compliance with Ind AS and presenting the financial statement in accordance with a different financial reporting framework which is not applicable to a particular company. And apart from that, it also comes with a bonus that there could be a possible imprisonment of 1 year or both, penalty as well as the imprisonment. So, the compliance cost is very high and non-compliance cost is much more higher. Accordingly, everybody is criticizing the implementation of Ind AS. But on a go forward basis, when we are looking into the Ind AS and the transparency of the reporting, you will understand why the government has insisted that we have to follow Ind AS for bigger companies. Let me just tell you a simple or practical approach, how you can master the art of learning Ind AS and scoring very good marks in your final examination. In the intermediate examination, as well as in the foundation course, you have understood that Indian accounting standards, that is the Indian GAAP AS, has been already taught to you and you are familiar with that. And I believe that if you have a good knowledge of Indian GAAP, that will help you to move further to understand Ind AS very practical manner. For example, what is required? I understood the Indian GAAP. Now what I have to further understand is that what is the difference between Indian GAAP and Ind AS? That is what we are talking about, the significant differences between Indian GAAP and Ind AS, right? So if we could say I have a reasonable knowledge of AS and I have understood the Ind AS difference between Ind AS and AS, then I have almost done understanding Ind AS. What is further required? These standards are undergoing lot of changes depending upon the feedback being received from the industry as well as the requirement of the economy. Those latest developments should also be known by us. As a student, you are aware that any amendment which is not more than 6 months old is not applicable to you for the particular examination, and accordingly nothing to worry. The latest development might have been completely discussed and you have lot of guidances when you are preparing for your examination. And I also urge you to look into the compendium of the various bulletins issued by what we call as ITFG. ITFG is nothing but Ind AS Transition Felicitation Group, which is working under the Accounting Standard Board of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. As a committee it works, and what it does is basically if some question is coming on the implementation and there is some doubt which is coming in, they are clarifying the doubt with a lot of examples, making the concept easier by bringing the reference to the various paragraphs of the standard. So my suggestion is please look into this bulletin. For your benefit, that entire bulletin has been now summarized into one single compendium. Please read that. It will be like a Q&A pattern, and that Q&A could be part of your final examination question paper also. Accordingly, I urge you to look into the ITFG bulletin as well. So that's all about the first unit on overview of Indian accounting standard. What we have learned so far is this module has actually explained the concept of new financial reporting, which talks about AS for non-corporate entity, AS for companies, and then we have seen that companies who are meeting certain threshold limit. Certain threshold limits, we said they have to use Ind AS. So Ind AS is not for all companies, only if the company is meeting certain threshold limit it will be applicable, right? Very simple concept. And we have also seen what is the magnitude of the impact on implementation of Ind AS, and accordingly striking a right balance between what comes as a reduction in the reserves and how it can be balanced by means of other options which are available is what we are going to learn over a period of time on this particular paper. And what is the legal requirement for compliance with Ind AS also we have seen. I made a reference of section 129 subsection 3 where the accounting framework which has to be used by the companies, and what is the penalty which is payable by the company. And I have also said that how the students can quickly understand and relate retain their knowledge on Ind AS and for the purposes of their examination. What we have said in this particular aspect, we said AS knowledge is important, and then significant difference between AS and Ind AS is what we are supposed to learn, And the third aspect which I have said is the latest developments which you have to be aware of only if it is more than 6 months for the particular attempt, more than 6 months for the particular attempt. So, you will not have any major issues. And the last one which we have said for your knowledge and making a mastership on Ind AS is nothing but always look into ITFG bulletin, which will be in a Q&A pattern. So, that is what I wanted to present in this particular unit of Ind AS. So, that is the summary which I was talking about, including your knowledge of AS, significant differences, the latest development, more than 6 months, and of course, the ITFG bulletin. And that is what I wanted to cover in this unit of Financial Reporting Paper 1, and thank you very much for watching this.